My name is Barbara Mulligan, and I'm the Director in the Center for Student Engagement, and I am the advisor to SGA. And so we want to welcome you to our candidate speeches. We're very excited. We're going to call up the individuals. Everybody will have about 5 minutes to speak on their platform, tell you a little bit about themselves, and then we can open it up to some questions as well. And then I want to remind everybody that next week you will get a link to the elections link, and that should come through our newsletter. So please make sure, do you all get our newsletter? You are part of organizations. I'm seeing some heads. If anybody is concerned, we will also have a QR code to the link, and if anybody does not get our newsletter, we can help you get the newsletter. So any questions before we begin? We are also going to be recording this so that if people couldn't make it today, I know there's a little break and some people do not have classes, so we want to make sure that everybody will have access to that link, and we will make that available as well. All right, so we're going to bring people up alphabetical by the president's last name. So first up, we have Aaliyah De La Cruz and Amber Boston.
And I'm running for Student Government Association President for the 2023 to 2024 academic school year. I was born in the Philippines and have moved here to America and have lived in Brewster ever since. I am a health science major and have been living on campus for the past 3 years. I work here at the healthcare center, and if you have called to make an appointment, it was probably me on the phone. This past year, I've taken on the role of Residence Hall Association President, and I have been thankful for everything that I've learned. With recent presidential experience, I plan on carrying over my skills into the role of Student Government Association President.
Hi everyone, my name is Amber Boston, and I am running for SGA Executive Vice President. I am from Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, which is about 15 minutes from Hershey, Pennsylvania for reference. I'm a junior nursing major here at Pace, and I live in the townhouses with my best friend, amazing roommate, and now running mate, Leah De La Cruz. I work as a certified nursing assistant in a dementia care unit, and a big part of that job is advocating for my residents so that their needs are met, and that is what I plan to do for the students here at Pace. As juniors here at Pace, we have been a part of this community for basically 3 years now. We have been thinking about ideas to improve this campus since freshman year and now want to put them into action. First, we just want to assure you that we will do everything we can to be inclusive and to solidify equal opportunities for everyone on this campus. We hope to gain more knowledge through some of our own clubs here at Pace so that we can better represent our diverse community. As fellow college students, we are aware that mental health is frequently neglected over academics, extracurricular activities, and career opportunities. Our top priority is to promote wellness across this campus so that we can hopefully reduce the overall discontent among students. We hope to do this in many ways, like creating more spaces to express your thoughts and opinions. We would like to develop a close-knit relationship with the student body to learn how we can help ease the stress of being a college student. Along with encouraging wellness, we have many other ideas that you can find more information about on our Instagram, which we will be posting on later today.
As RHA President this year, I've gained recent knowledge that I will be able to put to use. Some of my duties include submitting budgets, collaborating with other student leaders and organizations, and leading weekly RHA meetings. These have allowed me to build connections that will help me succeed as your future president and executive vice president next year. Because we have more access to funding, thanks to the steadily increased activity fund that PACE plans to commence within the coming years, we will be able to hold larger events for the students here through SGA. We're excited for a chance to dedicate our time and efforts to making PACE a school you're proud to be of.
Thank you everyone, vote Amber and Leah!
So I feel like within student government role, advocacy is important. So I was wondering if you could speak on some matters of advocacy that are important to you guys.
That's a good question. So one thing we've heard a lot about from the student body is Kessel pricing, and although we may not be able to fix that directly by lowering the prices, we want to make Grubhub opportunities and deals more available and more widely known to the students, because I feel like we get emails from Grubhub almost every single day, and I can tell you I do not look at them, and because I get so many emails from many different things, and so we just want to make them more better known, maybe on our Instagram accounts, or
Yeah, we just want to be able for everyone to know what they can have, because I feel like a lot of people don't know a lot of things that are happening on campus.
that's just one of the.
Any other questions?
So I guess what you could say with that is that you're advocating for more awareness about
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, next we have Nicholas Diaz and Paris Tracy.
If there was anything about PACE that you could change, what would it be? Good afternoon to the PACE family. To those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Nicholas Diaz, and I'm a first-year student here at PACE University. I'm a digital journalism major with not only a passion, but a love to write, and I'm here to begin my next chapter in my story by running for SGA president. Throughout my time in high school, my number one goal was to leave an impact on my community. And that goal did not end when I turned my tassel, but carried over as I came into college. In less than a year of being a student here at PACE, I've been a part of organizations such as the PACE Chronicle and the Black Student Union, and I've made sure to attend events while also maintaining a high GPA and being on the dean's list for my first ever semester in college. I did what I thought was impossible, and I want to motivate and illustrate that everything is possible when you push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of. As a commuter student, it is not easy to be present on campus, but I made it a mission of mine to not let me being a commuter hold me back from making memories here at PACE and having experiences, and I want to inspire all the commuters here at PACE to do the same. As potential president of SGA, my purpose is to be representation for everyone. Being a part of so many oppressed communities myself, I know firsthand how easy it is for us to go unseen. And if elected, I plan to make sure that never happens again. While PACE is an amazing university as it is, I think we all can agree that there is always room for improvement. I want to be the voice for the unheard and the eyes for the unseen, and do everything I can to make everyone's time here at PACE once truly to be remembered. With your trust, I aim to implement a focus on mental health, inclusivity, and the overall well-being of each student at PACE like no other. The struggles that college students often experience are not talked about enough, and I plan to enforce more conversations and more awareness of those battles. As a student myself, I completely understand and empathize with the stress and constant pressure we are under, and I want to alleviate that from your shoulders as much as I can. I want to introduce new and exciting events to PACE that will increase involvement and overall student engagement. As SGA president, I ultimately want to listen and understand your concerns and make SGA a safe environment where students are comfortable enough to express their opinions. Our first move in accomplishing this goal was yesterday, when we had a tabling outside of Kessel to get to know the student body and give them a chance to express their current concerns and how we can move forward to improve that for next year. We understand how important it is to get to know you and hear from you to envision our future. After receiving over 40 submissions, many of which who are here today, we were able to see just why PACE could use our assistance. I also want to make sure that every student is excelling academically and keeping their grades up to par. My determination and eagerness to contribute to the growth of PACE University is out of this world, and I can assure you that with me as your SGA president, I will not let you down. I don't just want to see the change, I want to be the change and truly make PACE a better place. Thank you.
Tracy, and I am a personality and social psychology major here at Pace University. Anyone that knows me knows running is my thing for someone who has done 8 years of track and field. Well, here I am running again, but this time for SGA's Executive Vice President. As a first-year, first-gen student, I have found it my duty to portray the unimaginable. Coming into college, I found it difficult to open up and broadcast myself to the world in my new community. But because of my background in law and my expertise as an advocate, I have decided to put those negative thoughts behind me, use my voice to bring awareness to my college community, and lend a helping hand. In the first semester of my first year alone, I have become president of the Alumni Hall Student Council, president of the National Residence Hall Honorary, vice president of the Cosmetology Club, an RA, orientation leader, Lambda Sigma Theta honor student and president, an Excelsior Scholar, and a member of Setter's Leadership House, also known as SLH. Having to balance these organizations while upholding my GPA is something I can now say that I have achieved. As the potential vice president, it is my goal to demonstrate to other students that you too can strive for what you may see as impossible. I will help them to see that there is comfort in uncomfortability and to be the change they wish to see. With my leadership skills and passion to help, I commit to doing everything in my power to boost academic performance overall and student enthusiasm in the school as a whole. One main idea I have is to spread awareness of the importance of using resources. Many students have not had the pleasure of using their voices or tools to help them reach their full potential. Whether it be ignorance or unwillingness to blame, these students need to understand that nothing is handed and everything is earned. As Vice President, I will foresee this by hosting informational seminars and allowing room for students to create professional connections. This will allow them to get accustomed to the real-world style of professionalism to an inside view of life after college. I believe that because we are all on the same playing field, students can support one another. And as a fellow student, I vow to do just that. Any measures necessary will be used to work toward our school's improvement and the improvement of our pupils. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Are there any questions?
Could you define some of the values that are associated with your campaign and how they relate to PACE's motto, Opportunitas? Could you define some of the values that you carry with your campaign and that you want to carry into your presidency, and how they would relate to PACE's commitment to student opportunity?
Okay, so some of the values of our campaign is basically creating more diversity than PACE has. I know PACE is a very diverse school. I think that with our campaign, our main focus is to not only include diversity, but inclusion as a whole. And I think that once that starts or continues to grow or flourish, I think that more opportunity will come for more students everywhere in PACE, no matter their interests or goals or career paths.
And to add on what Paris was saying, we also want to be transparent, and like I was mentioning earlier, we just want to listen. I feel like a lot of students, not only at PACE, but just around the world, feel like they're not heard or they're not seen and they're not listened to. So we genuinely just want to listen to your concerns and work towards ways to improve those and make those concerns like no more.
So in your respective student government positions, what relationships would you want to strengthen or develop, whether it be with other offices, clubs, and how would you use that to strengthen the student body?
So I would want to strengthen relationships with other organizations on campus, just so that we can all come together and all have like the same main idea and the same goal of just creating a space in PACE where it is, where we're excelling academically, but we're also having the time where we can have fun and enjoy college and make memories and experiences.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to bring up Noah Petroselli and Robert Gertman.
So good afternoon, Pace University. My name is Noah Petroselli, and a lot of you know me from Alumni Hall. I'm a freshman here and a psychology major as well. And Robert and I are running for SGA President and Vice President. Robert and I, prior to our campaign, actually met in Washington, D.C. Shout out to Megan and, student engagement over there. So we met and we had one of our first conversations in the back of a bus about what the change that we wanted to see at Pace University. And over again, our 3 values, which we hold very important to us, came up, which was inclusion, engagement, and transparency. And with us, as your SGA president and vice president, I can promise you that we will uphold every single one of those values. About a day ago, I decided to spend my entire day in Tesla, actually from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with a little bit of a break in between. But I met a lot of people, which I see here, in the back. Shout out to you guys. And through talking to them, we came up with a lot of problems that we saw at Pace, and a lot of those were clubs, organizations, and events overall on this campus. And we really do think that Pace University can thrive, and we really want to be the change that everyone wants to see. Because there are problems, and it would be wrong of us not to say that there isn't. And we truly do believe that we can change this campus, and we can make it the #1 Pace campus. With me as your SGA president, I can promise you that everything that you guys tell me, I will listen to wholeheartedly. We will have an open door policy. You guys can DM us on Instagram. I will gladly give out my phone number. I'm here to be your friend and your leader, and I can promise you that I will do just that.
Hello everyone. First let me start by introducing myself. My name is Robert Gertman. I'm a sophomore. I major in business management, and I'm also a commuter student from Rockland County, so I know about all the frustrations about unpredictable traffic, tolls, gas, etc. And I'm running for executive vice president alongside my presidential running mate, Noah Petroselli. Noah and I believe that it is important for the SGA president and vice president to be visible and accessible to all students. We want to create a culture of open communication and transparency where students can come to us with their ideas and concerns, and we can advocate for them. We also want to use social media and other digital platforms to connect with all students of all majors and keep them informed about upcoming events and initiatives. As Noah said, we met in Washington, D.C. on the Leadership and Civic Engagement excursion to Washington, D.C. It is on that trip that I really got to know many, many people, and I was able to build meaningful and strong connections. Going into it, as a commuter, I don't know what it's like to have a roommate. So to be honest with you, I was very concerned about who my roommates would be. But I was able to meet some people, and we were able to have conversations about PACE and about what we can do to improve the PACE community. Not just here on the Pleasantville campus, but we also met students from the New York City campus as well. Many of our fellow students felt vulnerable enough to share some of their unique experiences at PACE with us, and we did the same with them. It was in those conversations that through listening, we heard many recommendations of how PACE can improve. Had it not been for that trip, I don't know if we would have met or even had run. But after those intimate and vulnerable conversations with other students and each other, we knew that we couldn't not run. PACE University's motto is Opportunitas. And when students are given those essential opportunities, whether it be events, trips, or other initiatives, they are gifted with the tools to discover their own potential, like Noah and I. And if the student body chooses to give us the opportunity to lead SGA, we plan on promoting student engagement with new events, meet regularly with the heads of different organizations and clubs, and hear about different needs and ideas, underscored by our open door policy that Noah alluded to, and meet with the general student body to ensure complete transparency. Finally, we believe that it is important for the SGA president and vice president to lead by example. We want to be the model of values of inclusivity, respect, and responsibility in our own actions and our behavior. We want to be role models for other students and inspire them to take active roles in shaping our school community, which is why we will be active in the PACE community across the board and be seen displaying our setter spirit at sports events and all events to the best of our ability. We are excited about the opportunity to serve SGA as your president and vice president, and we hope that you continue to support our campaign. Thank you for your consideration.
Any questions?
What skills that make you, what skills do you have, both in leadership and I guess communication skills, that would make you guys the best candidates for this position? How would you approach interacting with so many students throughout the course of your term?
So I didn't say it during my speech, sorry, I was a little nervous. But actually in high school, my friends and I were part of a big coalition in New Jersey, in which one of my friends, props to her, Jamie Rickers, basically made this, I think it was like one of the largest Black Lives Matter protests in New Jersey. And I was one of the supporters on that. And so from there, I kind of gained like the momentum to help out within my community, and I ended up joining out in PFLAG, which is another organization in New Jersey that helps out LGBT homeless youth. And through that, I was able to mentor a lot of like younger LGBTQ kids who were displaced from their families, homeless, didn't know where to go, and didn't have anybody to look up to. And through that, like I really like found my footing within leadership, and I really do feel like I can advocate for all students, no matter who they are.
And as a commuter, I don't have like a job here on campus, but I did volunteer and I continue to volunteer at the Westchester Community Opportunity Program in Spring Valley in Rockland County, my home county, which is one of the most underserved towns within the county. And there I meet with people who are marginalized, people who are mentally ill, and I have to communicate with them and respect them, and I have to know how to, communicate with those types of people. I also worked at that company over the summer, this past summer, and I had to analyze policy and how we could allocate certain funds to put those policies into action. So as SGA Vice President, I plan on using those skills on how we can use our funding appropriately and to the best of our ability to get the most out of what we have, with our funding for different events and initiatives, like I kind of talked about in my speech.
Hi. So oftentimes when advocating for students and taking issues up the ladder, you can be met with pushback, sometimes even the answer no. So how do you plan on navigating pushback or delays when trying to advocate for students while also maintaining your objective and belief in transparency?
Well, I think that first, when we're told no, which we're probably going to from higher ups within SGA, like the president of the university, so on and so forth, I think that it's important to not kind of bluff and make it sound like, well, we tried, we did this. I think that you should actually say, well, we actually did this, and we were told no for X, Y, and Z, but instead we can try something else. Like it's hypothetical, but we can try, A, B, C instead of X, Y, and Z, and maybe trying to think of different ideas that we can do, and go back to the president and say, well, can we try this instead because you said this wouldn't work because of that.
I also think too, when it comes to dealing with like, maybe deans or people that are above, our pay grade, for example. This is a public service job, and we would live to serve the student body. So any concerns that like anybody here has, or the general student body as a whole, we live to basically serve those concerns. And as we would voice those to the deans, if they do say no, then we're gonna have to be open with the student body and just be like, look, they said no, but we're gonna do our best, and we're gonna bring it up every single time that we meet with them, because it's important to us and it's important to everybody else here, which means that, it's important to us as well.
So, a common theme I've seen with everyone here so far is that everyone wants to push diversity, equity, and inclusion. In your role as vice president and president, what are some programs or initiatives that you'll push to promote DEI on campus?
Well, okay. Sorry. But there was a video that went out, I think it was, I want to say last year, and it was about the buttons, like the handicap buttons, like for the opening doors, and many of them were not usable. They weren't even, like you press them and nothing would happen. So not even just thinking about inclusivity in the general sense of sexuality, sexual orientation, ethnicity, race, so on and so forth, but also just in people's ability, and non-abilities. I think that we should advocate for all students across all majors. So I think that, advocating for saying, well, these buttons aren't working, and I'm able to open the door, but there are some people who are in wheelchairs and they cannot open the doors. So did I answer your question? I'm sorry. Do you want me to elaborate more? And so I would say to the president or the dean or whoever, I would say, well, Miller, there is a button on Miller that does not work for people like that. And I would say, well, this needs to be fixed. And if you want to have a place of opportunitas. I mean, how can someone get to class effectively and efficiently if they cannot just, access their classrooms in an effective manner?
And I think also with like advocacy, like it only means so much for us to say something to someone. Like it'll take us meeting with these specific groups of people to actually make change, because it's like we want to hear what like everyone else has to say. Like we want to know, we want to hear, we want to listen. So through that, we really do feel like we can make a change here.
So you guys mentioned having an active plan in place. What active plans or programs have you guys what active plans have you guys made like with the student body? Have you guys spoken with the student body so far?
Well, I've talked to a lot of fellow commuters, and they have talked about, and Maria and I have talked about a possible, like a commuter lounge, because there are like a lot of events that happened at night, and certain commuters, like, it just doesn't work out. There are some events that happen like 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and some people, their last class is at like 4:30, so then they have to wait around for like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. And it would be nice to have a place for fellow commuters, because I'm a fellow commuter, so I can speak to the frustrations of being a commuter. A place for fellow commuters where they can meet other commuters, talk, a place where you can kind of lounge around. That would be convenient.
Yeah, we've also talked about having like a town hall kind of once a month where like the students can come openly ask us questions like we have to answer, and that promotes like our transparency, which we've been trying to get across to the student body, is that like you guys can come ask us anything and we have to answer. This is a public service job, so we live to serve you guys.
One of your major focal points is inclusion. What kind of programs and events you intend to integrate to be able to improve departments like DEI and OMA?
Could you restate like that?
Inclusion is one of your main focal points. What kind of events and programming do you intend to integrate to be able to improve different departments like DEI and OMA?
So again, we think promoting these groups is what comes first. So not everyone knows that certain clubs and organizations exist to promote these specific groups that are on campus. A good example is the LGBTQ crowd I can speak to when it comes to this. There is a big presence on campus of LGBTQ students, and they are not heard at all by anybody, and that's such a shame. So by us opening our door and being like, you can talk to us, look, I'm a friendly face, I'm a friend to all of you, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you believe, I hope that it solves the problem, or solves some of the problem where people don't feel heard by this school. Because at the end of the day, I do live to serve those people. I live to serve everybody at the end of the day, so.
I don't know if I misheard you guys, but do you guys have any active leadership roles and experiences that you were you were the head guy in charge, or even the right hand man to head in charge of an event or an organization, or anything like that?
To be transparent, I have not, because I'm only a sophomore, and so my freshman year, a lot of commuters I've heard from, they said they have a lot of hard times meeting new people, because you just go to class and then you go home, which is kind of what I did freshman year. But as a sophomore, I'm becoming more active in the PACE community, and I have joined a lot recently many clubs. But to be honest, no, because freshman year I didn't really get the gist of clubs and organizations, because I would kind of just come to PACE and go home. Yeah.
No, it's okay. So a lot of my leadership positions, just because I had a very flooded fall semester, happened to be later in high school for me. Again, that was mentoring younger kids who were displaced from their homes. That to me is a big leadership position, because that's very hard to take on. Not only was I a friend, but I was also someone that they looked up to. I had to have certain qualities about me that made me fit for a position like that. organizing a protest. It sounds easy. I can promise you it's really not. We were very shocked by the turnout that day, especially because I do live in a predominantly white neighborhood, but everybody showed up, and that was because we took the time to deliver what the people really wanted at the end of the day. And that to me speaks volumes about how I am as a leader. And I feel like through those two positions, which is very unique within itself, I do feel like I can make a change here. I do feel like I have leadership experience, whether it's my fall semester or whether it's my senior year of high school.
Okay. I would like to give our next candidate some time as well, and then we can open it up to more questions for all candidates if you still have some. But can I please bring up our final candidate, Jake Sharkey? Thank you very much.
Paces University's motto is opportunist, which means opportunity in Latin. And the definition of opportunity is, quote, a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something, end quote. Those circumstances have brought me here to Pace University as a transfer student because I value my education. Hi there, my name is Jake Sharkey. My major is information technology with a minor in creative writing. I graduate in May 2024, and I would love to be your SGA president. My vice president, Isabella Girbon Sass, is a bio major and will graduate in May of 2026. She is currently not here now because she's also currently in class. No matter how we serve, being a student comes first. I want to talk to you about myself before I get into my policies. In high school, I became a mentor to elementary school kids from the beginning of the year to all the way to senior year, as well as a Skills USA chapter treasurer and a yearbook editor where I wanted to share memories as well as advocate for students who just want to speak out in their yearbook as well. I went to a university, I came from a university where I also grew and learned a lot about the fundamentals behind the curtain. I have been on many e-boards, from Hall Council Treasurer Liaison to Residence Hall Association as a National Communications Coordinator with NEACAR. And as well as later down the line, a resident assistant as well. I learned leadership, collaboration, and I have every one of my residents and students on campus in mind when creating events to help them succeed. These incredible experiences make me a better leader, listener, and advocate for students on this campus. I want nothing more than to see every student succeed, and if that means coming and changing for the better, then nothing would make me happier than doing so. Our policy for change is open budget for clubs and organizations, but I want to show the student population exactly how their student activity fee is being handled and distributed to clubs and organizations on campus. More resources, making more resources accessible and available for those who cannot seem to find it. At Pace University, there are many academic, social, and career tools and resources. We want to connect each student to the resources they need to get ahead. Open door for students who just want to pop in and say hello, have a conversation, and any questions that you have, we would love to hear. And if you have any idea about change that you wish to explore, we want to explore it with you. As well as open Senate meetings for all students to come and visit. First, we want you to know what is happening on campus, any changes, new events, and concerns. We want you to hear it first in that front row and advocate for yourself how you feel about any discussion that we've brought up. Our campaign is to serve you with the students, by the students, for the students, because we are students. They're alongside you wanting that change. More inclusion, more voices being heard, and more ideas coming forward to bring change to Pace. We want to open all doors and windows to show the current and incoming classes that nothing is hidden when talking about student life on campus. Our Instagram is @SharkySass, where you can definitely visit more information about our campaign, as well as a QR code and a Google form link, because we want to hear from exactly what you want change. We love to hear every single story, every word, because everyone does have a story that they want to share and see what changes that we could bring to campus. Vote for transparency personified, Sharky Jerbon Sass, for the next SGA President and Executive Vice President for a complete, transparent SGA President, because you deserve to know how we are here to serve you. And before I finish, I would like to say, all the speeches that people have gave today, I'm so glad to be sharing the same platform with everyone that believes in the same things that I do. And it is really a refreshing to say of what they want to see on campus. So applause to every one of you guys, honestly. I'm glad to share this platform with you. Thank you. Any questions that you might have? Yes.
As for the open policy for Senate, Senate is already open to any student to come to. So are you looking to raise awareness that students can come to Senate, or that their voices are more likely to be heard at Senate, or what's the whole push behind?
That's a great question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. So obviously, being a transfer student, I've learned a lot as well as things. So being communication is one of the most important things out there. I have not had, of course, I am an alternate senator, but I have not seen out there on center sync of really SGA meetings. Yes, it is there that I have seen, but it's not really broadcast loudly. So only senators could be there. We want to open doors for right now, this is being recorded. We want things being recorded, being put out there, as well as partnering with organizations. Like, for example, the PACE Chronicle, to give you the rundown of what exactly happens on each Senate meeting, so you know exactly what's going on. Because, let's be honest, you pay about, what, $70,000 in tuition and you don't know what's going on besides going to classes? We want to advocate and bring complete awareness to anyone that might have an issue being brought up. So we want to open it more inclusion, of course, recorded, live stream, whatever that we could do just to get the word out there and see if people have questions about anything else. So thank you so much for the question.
Hi. I was wondering if you have any specific plans in mind or initiatives for increasing sense of belonging for students of color on campus.
That's a great question. It's so good to see you again. So obviously, being both as a freshman and a transfer student, I've been in both shoes. I never thought I would be, again, a transfer student because my university loves so much. But with inclusion, I've also felt an outsider too, no matter how it was. I've always seen more exclusion and being brought aware. So you guys have so much student leaders, the BSU, ASU. We want to partner with almost all organizations as well as departments on campus to bring awareness to there's different specialty months that we want to celebrate, as well as different events that you think that could happen for you. For example, if you have an event in mind that you want to bring aware from your culture, we can definitely set that up and exploit it out to say, hey, this is what's happening. We want to celebrate with you of where you come from, because you do have an individual story that you probably want to share with others, and it's probably great memories that you do. So any things that you would like to see us do with inclusion, and that means everyone. We want to share your story with others. Does that get across? I hope I can.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, honestly. Anything else?
So throughout the course of these, throughout the course of these speeches, transparency and advocacy have obviously been very relevant values and pillars. In the pursuit of both of those, how would you handle conflict, either managing how many people you're being listened to? How would you handle competing priorities or pushback?
That's a great question. So being with pushback, there's always going to be room for pushback, always going to be room for growth, as well as just not dealing, but advocating for themselves, because obviously individual voices want to be heard, and that's totally understandable of, someone, being ignored or just being disregarded entirely. We do advocate for, like, our form is, we read them individually, individuals' responses. We read every single one. We want to send an email or set up a meeting to each and every single one that we could possibly handle. And if it's more of, if there's like a lot of, there's a pattern, there's a pattern of people seeing the same thing, we want to set up events with like the department. For example, Chartwells is obviously a big problem on campus. And there have been Chartwell events, and sometimes people don't know that these Chartwell events of like either making food or talking about your meal plan. We want to have events and Q&A where your concerns are being heard and valued. And of course, that's also another problem is communication of things. We obviously, Pace University does share it on their Instagram, but a lot of things come from word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? When people talk to you about it, it's more of a remember than, oh, yeah, I saw that. I'm not going to that. But if someone tells you this, like, hey, there's something that going on Chartwells, we should go with a friend or a buddy, that's more of a difference coming up and showing up and advocating for yourself as well as with SGA. So communication as well as if there's a pattern, we'll get them out there. And if it's not, we'll try to meet individually with myself or my Vice President Isabel to hear your concerns. Again, open door policy. We want to hear from you.
Okay, this was supposed to be a follow-up to Eva's question, but then I didn't get the mic. So, I don't know if you're aware, but Senate is also being reformed. What are your feelings about that?
Reformed?
Yes.
That's, personally, when I say reformed, how? I'm sorry, that's one, I'm gonna be honest there, I don't, reformed how, that's one thing I'm gonna be honest about.
Okay, so there's supposed to be a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior class representative. We're doing academic and athletic. There's going to be representatives from each crowd instead of having the club senators. So I was wondering if you had any feelings about that, if you'd like to share.
Thank you so much for clearing that up. Again, first year here, so why not go out with a bang and say SGA president as a transfer. Honestly, I think that's more better to have advocates for senators for different organizations. We did that back at my other school where there were senators for different classes, and it did possibly get the word out even more. For those senators, if you trust the senators that are going to be there, we still want openness for all. Obviously, that's one thing. But I think it's very good to have each individual senator to get it out there to the student population, because we do care about what policies that we're having, or as well as events, concerns, things like that. I believe that it's a good thing, but obviously we still want it to compete with open all, as well as very much recorded and getting it out there. That's our main concern, is just pushing it forward so you hear what our events, what your concerns are out there. Excuse me.
Any other questions?
One last question, thank you. What specific leadership skills or experiences have you had in the past that you would take and apply to this position to not only help you succeed, but also help you manage conflict?
That's a great question. Back in my, again, its previous institution, we called ourselves the IRHA, which is also known as RHA here. I was a national coordinator of communications, and we also dealt with the similarities of how SGA is also run. So we've listened for students that have complaints about either food or transportation. For example, during one of my years as a one of my positions, we are separated into two campuses by buses. So we have Down City, which is right in the middle of Providence, Rhode Island, as well as Harborside, which is a little bit more of a traditional campus. They were advocating on times for bus routes of how late it should be before it's over. For example, I believed it was end at 11:55 was the last bus going to Down City. Students did advocate for themselves of how we wanted to extend it even further. So we invited the our Department of Transportation with a Q&A as well as advocacy of saying, here's what's going on, here's what we want, is it possible to make this decision? And that was basically, we told the hall councils of, get signatures, get anything recognized to say, this is what the students want. And they did, and we added 2 more times of 12:15 and 12:30. And can you believe that it was just by the students? We just pushed them to succeed even further of that advocacy. It might not be a big deal, but you could stay out with your friends a little longer and see them in the door before you go home. So that was one of the pleasures of advocating for.
Any other questions?
We have a few more minutes because I know the common hour is coming to a close and people probably have class. Are there any other follow-up questions for any of the other candidates at this time? Okay. Is this in general, are you looking for all of them to answer, or do you?
I think just one person.
Okay.
So, everybody made great speeches. Great job. Aaliyah, I think, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you're the only person who has experience with the budgeting process who spoke today. Could you talk a little bit about how you think that'll help you as president?
Well, this past semester I've put in many budgets for all the events that I've had to put in for RHA, and I worked very closely with Maria and Barbara with all this processing, so I have made connections with them, and with the past experiences that I have learned from just this year, I've been able to further make better events for everyone and to just be able to use the funding that everyone is paying with the student activity fee into something that they want to see on campus.
I have a question for all the candidates. What was the one issue that motivated you to run in the first place?
So, as we talked about in our speech, our one most overall issue among college students in general is just advocating for better opportunities to have better mental health within students. Obviously, this is a problem for not just students, but just everyone in life. But as college students, we just want to provide more opportunities to maybe de-stress, having spaces in all of the academic buildings where students can just have a moment to themselves. I know how overwhelming classes can get as a nursing major. Do you want to?
We also just want everyone to feel safe at school and to not feel like they're at school. I want everyone to feel like they're going to school for another extension of home, I guess, to want to feel like they are proud to be part of PACE.
Yeah, we want you to be comfortable here.
So one of the main issues that I've seen on campus that honestly motivated me to run is just more awareness and more publicization or publication of the ethnic clubs on campus, like BSU, ASU, OLAS, stuff like that. Because as a student of color, and especially at a predominantly white institution, I feel like those safe spaces need to be made more aware so that students who identify with those communities can understand and find their home at Pace, and find where they feel comfortable, and find people that can relate to them, people that look like them, people that talk like them, act like them, and they can find their safe space in all of campus.
Okay, so to add on to what Nick said, I definitely agree with everything you said. One of my main goals, or the things that made me want to run, was a lot of my friends and people that I know on campus are nursing majors, and I know that because of the extensive work that they do or need to do, like hours for clinicals and stuff like that, they would like transportation and to be sponsored in those ways. So that touched me personally, and I felt that if we can help like the nursing students, then they're eventually going to help us because they will be our future healthcare leaders. So, yeah.
I really felt inspired to run after we went on the trip and we were learning about what it means to be a leader, how being a leader can help not just yourself but other people, obviously. And like Nick said, being like a student of color, like there are certain microaggressions that you receive, like going through life being a person of color, and being perceived as a person of color. So I think it's really important for me as a student here to advocate for people of color, and what it's like to be a student of color at a predominantly white institution. This is my first major, this is my first semester, I'm sorry, with my new major, business management. I was a CHP student for 3 semesters, like, you know, my friends over there, Amber and Aaliyah. And I've noticed already in my first semester being a Leuven student that there are a lot of inequities across the board depending upon your college. And like now I have so many opportunities for internships, and I'm getting so many notifications through Handshake and emails from people within Leuven about opportunities, whereas when I was in CHP, I didn't really receive that. And like Paris, I think was her name, I think she said, like when I was in CHP, I never received those emails. But I think it's more important for them to get them because I was so stressed about PA school, because it was health science pre-PA, my major, and I needed like 2,000 hours, like for the time of application, and I was like, how am I gonna get that? And I would try to talk to my advisor, Dana Castro, with CHP, and she would kind of like give me the ring around. I mean, not to her fault, I mean, you know, I'm not calling her out and saying it was her fault, but I'm just saying that there weren't a lot of opportunities for like real life experiences to help you get the needed knowledge that you need to matriculate onto PA school, medical school, whatever. So I think that I really wanted to, now that I see the differences, I really want to help people across colleges and get the opportunities that they need to succeed.
So for me, it was definitely more personal, and it did happen on the Washington DC trip as well. But even a little bit before that, I was interested in SGA my fall semester. I unfortunately never heard back from them just because of the, I guess, I don't know, reform, or just because they weren't communicating with the student body as well as they should have, per se. But during Washington DC, during that talk that we had, I had met so many different students from New York City as well that voiced their concerns about this campus, and their campus as well, obviously. And through that, I was able to see that, like, my experiences of, you know, dealing with, you know, maybe certain people on this campus that aren't, you know, too comfortable with my identity as an LGBTQ student on this campus, or, you know, the certain aggression that is definitely had towards, you know, other people. It was definitely just something that I felt passionate about, and I felt that I could put an end to and put a stop to, or at least try to, and try my hardest to, because I genuinely do care. Yeah.
Well, for me personally, I've, since probably the beginning of time really, but of more of high school, I've learned to always be not present, but always on the lower level of, like I said, in the e-board, I've always sit back and watch and very observant of how people, you know, react to, you know, certain policies or certain things. Like in high school, I've seen a lot of, I would say, like not fights, but a lot of disagreements, a lot of closed doors. I currently went to a trade school, high school, so we learned a trade as well as still learning academics, and it was very restricting of, you know, student dress code, because you have to wear uniforms with both dimes, and
the administrative was very suffocating to the point of where people would just do it out of necessity, just like I want freedom of expression. So I've seen people like deal with like there's disputes against teachers, fights, things like that of the student population. And as it grew more into like university, I've seen it. I kind of seen that still like same tight there, but not as restrictive. And I've seen so much behind the curtain. Like I've talked to, like I've become friends with teachers, professors, as well as some administrators that I knew like most of the inside scoop of what's happening on their side compared to our side. And it's like there's like my other school, there's so much wrong with it. I wouldn't say I never regret going there. I loved going there. I met the people there. Honestly, it was great. But like COVID, it really died down. It really went downhill to the point of, oh God, like this is not the same picture that I've planned to go here. And I transferred to Pace because I never thought of, when you go to college, you always thought about 4 years here, I'm gonna make the best of it. You never think about transferring. And that was a big deal, a big step for me. As well as then coming here, it's much better, but I've also seen the little things of tameness along with it. I've been exposed to so much and so things that I want to improve it. And I'm like, after all the leadership experience that I had when mentioned in my speech, I want to step up and say, this is enough, I'm done. I want to make the change. And I think I finally had that courage when running for SGA president, because I'm done. I just want to make a difference, no matter if it's just one person or or the entire population. If they feel supported as well as heard, that's what I want at the end of the day.
I think we have one last question.
Hi. So I hear a lot about everyone speaking about what they can do for the students, but being SGA president and EVP, if people underestimate the workload that comes with it when it's dealing with students, faculty, administration, with all the emails, and also juggling your own personal life. So I kind of just wanted to know, like, how equipped do you feel to be able to juggle all of that while also balancing the needs of the students and also balancing the needs of yourself? So it's open to me.
So that's for everybody, just in the interest of time, so everybody can we just have presidents do a quick little sound bite? Just want to make sure everybody's a fair chance.
Okay. President or vice president, or doesn't matter?
All right, at least one. Just
Okay.
one.
I can tell you personally, in high school, I was in very many clubs. And teams as well, which taught me a lot about teamwork. I played soccer for the school. I also played club soccer. I did track. I was in student council, so a lot of times I was going from a 6-hour school day and then to another soccer practice and then to another track practice, and then after that I had to do my homework. And that was going on for 4 years. So within that 4 years, I learned very much on how to balance my schoolwork, still hanging out with friends, and also still pursuing opportunities for my potential career as a nurse. And so I've been able to carry that over in college with nursing school in general, as it being insane between clinicals twice a week, classes, 3-hour lectures. I can say that I definitely feel like I've mastered time management for myself. So I feel like I'll be able to carry that over into executive vice president of SGA.
Okay, so personally, it began when I was very young, probably around 7 or 8. I've had experience with advocating and having to juggle a lot because of my family dynamic, I would say. My mom was in and out of the hospital a lot, so I would have to take care of my other siblings and myself while I was also attending school and also being able to take care of my mom. That eventually transferred over into middle school when I joined a law program for my middle school and my full high school career. I had to juggle many other things. Also in high school, I was president of student government in my high school, so I know the workload. Although the population in high school is smaller than college, I feel as though I would be able to definitely do the job as executive VP because of all the things I've accomplished just in my first semester of my first year.
stage, but I'm actually part of the Army Reserves, and I enlisted at 17, with my parents' permission, of course. So I went to basic training prior to my senior year of high school. I spent my entire summer in boot camp, basically in South Carolina, and I came back, and it was a little shocking at first to come back after something like that, especially very young. But I attended drill every single month, and I was able to help out my Army Reserve unit, when they would go away and they would, supply to other units. But I would also come back and do my homework like I should at 18, you know what I mean? So, and on top of all that, I was attending rallies and protests. I attended a women's march where I met New Jersey State legislators, Josh Gottheimer and such. And if I'm able to balance all of that, with still being a teenager at the time, I have no doubt that I would be able to balance being a student here full time while also being SGA president.
Balancing is one of my greatest power. I've had time management from all the way since high school. Freshman, I've joined many clubs, as I said, Skills SGA chapter, a lot of leadership conferences that I've been to. Things. So working as well as still making time for friends, because obviously at the end of the day, your mental health is important. And if you don't cater to yourself, you can't do everything else that they want to. Obviously, cater to it, excuse me. So I've juggled between clubs, organizations, homework, as well as my personal life. And in college, it just got even more extreme. But I've done all of that while still maintaining at my college a 3.8 GPA, and I'm very proud of that. As well as still making time for friends, us having fun, and still being an individual outside of these clubs and organizations. And being here, it really, honestly, really put me in the butt. I'm not gonna lie to you. Getting used to a different life other than in Rhode Island to New York, I did have a struggle at first because you're the new kid again. So I very much had it. It's like there's always a niche and a little clique, especially for freshmen who are catered to more. It's like, oh, you're away from home the first time. We're gonna cater to you more. With transfers, I felt like I was just thrown in with all of them and saying, good luck. So standing up from that and still trying to maintain a good, still balancing workloads and things. At the end of the day, my assignments are filled in, turned in, good grades are coming, as well as graduation is just around the corner for me. So I'm very proud of what I do, and I still want to achieve that further with SGA.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry we are out of time, and I want to make sure everybody gets to class on time. But I encourage all of you to reach out to the candidates as you see them around, get to know them. Feel free to stop, ask them some questions about some of their big ideas and their plans. And again, you will get an election link next week in your email. If anybody has issues or concerns, or you hear of anybody that does not receive it, please have them email me or come to the Center for Student Engagement, and we will make sure that everybody gets their vote in and calculated. If there's any questions you want to ask me, the candidates, maybe want to stay after, but if not, thank you very much. I'd like to give a round of applause to the candidates. And I want to thank all of you. Great questions, and it shows that you're really invested in the future of not only SGA, but PACE. So I'm very, very thankful you all came out and had some great questions. Thank you, everybody.